So how can today's students bridge the gap between what they're learning in academics and once they come to the industry, and how do you think the corporate mentorship program will shape them to be industry ready?
Right. As corporate, we look in the students is mainly how good they are in those industry readiness and awareness. When I say industry readiness awareness, they should be knowing how things are outside. Say, for example, participating in hackathon. They are a great way to kind of justify myself, right? Whatever I studied in college, I am able to bridge all these knowledge together.
Have you seen technology evolve in the past decade or since your career?
So the company evolves over a period of time. So if you see Hewlett Packard Enterprise, it is close to 8 decades old company if you see, right? So similar way as employees or any technologist or engineer, we also need to evolve, right? As the company evolves, the technology evolves. So one of the guiding principle when I say about decades, that is the innovation, right? So how do we innovate, right? So the transformation which keeps happening every 2 years, 3 years, new technological, I would say the transformation happens, right? So one of the key guiding principle is the culture, right? So how we innovate, how we work with the people, how do we kind of train the new blood, right? Typically when the people come from college, how quickly we can kind of learn from them, as well as kind of we need to bring them to the kind of area we are working on, especially the domain specific things, right? Whereas the technological shifts are happening outside in the industry, right? So say for example, the cloud, AI, all these things probably we had some of the theoretical stuff couple of decades ago, right? So if we, for example, if you see AI, that's been there, right? So 60s, 70s. Now with the advancement of the computing, the memory, right? So we are seeing the kind of explosion it's happening, right? So now having said that, when people or the engineers come from college to campus, we know like they are equipped with some of this latest greatest technology. We need to kind of see like how the bonding can happen. So that is how the company also grows. So that is key success to innovation as well. So if I see in my own example, we did a couple of patents with the college new graduate interns who joined us, right? So 2 or 3 patents. So that means they have something new. We know something from the domain expertise, how we can grow together. That is mantra is all about HPE.
Okay.
Right?
So what do you look forward to these fresh, as students and aspiring business professionals, what do you look forward to when they come into the industry, and what advice would you give them?
Right, absolutely. So yes, so one of the key thing is whatever we study in the in the campus, the fundamental has to be strong, right? So the many times what we see is when we talk to the students, they are sometimes they are confused because there are too many changes happening out in the industry, right? So it's AML, cyber security, big data, analytics, too many technical jargons they may be hearing, right? The transformation is happening. So they are at times confused, saying like, how do I balance? So always we tell them, right? So be good at whatever you study in the college, right? So for example, the data structure, algorithms, computer organization, database, these are the building blocks on top of which tomorrow, right, their career will be building based on this. So the programming, of course, right? So these are the things, fundamental things we'll be looking at any of the students. So that means we look at some of the soft skills as well, how their attitude, learnability aspects, right? So how cool they are, how compatible they are, flexible. Sometimes some students will be very adamant, right? No, I want to do on this. So in that case, we may not be able to match their kind of aspirations, right? So we need to draw a line, like how exactly we both can work together.
So how can today's students bridge the gap between what they're learning in academics and once they come to the industry, and how do you think the corporate mentorship program will shape them to be industry ready?
Right, exactly. Great question once again. So So one of the thing is the traditional days, it used to be like the fundamental knowledge what I do here, right? So if I do better excel in my academics as well as kind of answer in the interview, that should be good enough. But nowadays the additional thing as corporate we look in the students is mainly how good they are in those industry readiness and awareness. When I say industry readiness awareness, they should be knowing how things are outside. Say for example, participating in hackathon. They are a great way to kind of justify myself, right? Whatever I studied in college, I am able to bridge all these knowledge together, right? It could be from database, front end, back end, GUI, right? Making it as package. Cyber security, I may be learning from the networking side, right? So how I am kind of turning it to be the execution and making it as product, that's important. Right. So especially coming back to the corporate mentorship as you asked. So here we are talking, typically we focus from the enterprise world, right? So typically how as corporate we work, right? How massive the product is going to be, the life cycle is going to be, what are the background work we typically do, starting from the requirement, design, coding, importantly the testing, right? Once we put the entire solution product onto the field, right? How the production system is behaving, how the deployment, how do we need to learn from the customer? These are the kind of discussion we typically have as part of mentorship. We try to bridge the learning basically from the academics, what we see from the corporate. So that way we give them some of the tools, technology as well, so that they can experiment a bit, right? Especially in the cloud native kind of foundation, right? So they sort of experimented some of those tools as well, so that it becomes more of a theoretical knowledge, how they can sort of apply, right? So that way they are prepping themselves to face the industry, both in terms of preparing well for the interview, as well as okay, this is how something it looks like in the industry, right? So probably, who knows, many of them may be the entrepreneurs, right? So tomorrow they may do on their own startups, or they may be getting into researchers or the academics further, right? So we try to give them the holistic approach, right? So though we focus on corporate, we tell them there are other avenues, options available as well.
Right. So do you think there's any like increased pressure on students or students who are about to enter the industry compared to maybe 25 years back?
Yes, it is the way the coin, right? So the one thing is the data, the amount of knowledge material available outside is too much. That is why sometimes it is confused. Second thing is it is the abundance, right? So the opportunity available is too many, right? So nowadays as a society we are more aware of, right, the kind of opportunity. Oh, I want to get into finance domain, banking domain, system domain, I want to do AML, right? I want to contribute into space and science technology, all these things. So it is more of the peer family pressure is also building up. So I would say as students or from the academic point of view, we need to be cautiously threading that, right? Point number one. So I would say like that kind of stress pressure is there. Compared to 20-25 years ago, that was not there, right? Because our parents probably didn't know like, okay, computer science is only the word they knew. Say, apart from that, like in that particular thing, this is the field you need to work on. So they were not particular that. Nowadays we are very particular, right? So I want to work only on the cloud related technology, right? So I don't want to work on probably mainframe kind of technology. But the kind of awareness, this kind of corporate mentorship will really help, saying even in mainframe kind of technology, I'm just quoting some example, even in mainframe as well, we are working on a lot of this cloud area, cloud related technology, AI related, cyber security, all these things. So we really need to understand what exactly is there in the typical industry, right? So how I fine tune, right? So today also I was talking to students. It may not be like 100% I fit into that, right? Maybe 60%, right? So remaining 40% I need to see various avenue opportunities available in the corporate world. Say for example, we have special interest group. There are multiple other things, add-ons or the stretch assignments you need to work on to kind of pursue your passion, right? So you may not be able to see the exact match sometimes. So these things will sort of help students to lower their burden in terms of, oh, okay, whether I will be getting the same thing. I should be able to little bit flexible on, if I don't get that, that's okay. I'll look out for some of these additional options which I get there, right? Or even some of the certifications. Previously, I wanted to mention along with the hackathon. Certifications are a great way nowadays because we can go through the set of contents for the number of hours. Then we can crack certain exams, right? So that gives me the kind of lot of understanding, technical concepts, as well as gives me confidence, right? Yes, I'm able to, given an opportunity, able to do this project. Even for the market also, industry also, it gives you a testimony, right? So the certain certification, without doing the project, I'm getting to know certain concepts, right? Earlier that was not the case. Fresher means, oh, okay, I need this kind of projects, I expect this. But nowadays, doing some summer internship, these certification hackathons are great way to get into the industry, I would say.
Rightly said. So even though, I mean, the burden and pressure and stress on students might have increased, you know, it's nice that we have lovely corporate mentors who will bring their seasoned experience to students.